Welcome to the Daughter Dearest podcast with Simone and Olivia Canego, making the world a better place one conversation at a time. Mom Simone and daughter Olivia share authentic discussions about everything under the sun, including those things you might be thinking about but feel uncomfortable talking about. Thanks for tuning in. Now here are your hosts, Simone and Olivia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Simone Canego. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Daughter Dearest podcast.
And I'm Olivia Canego.
Yeah,
and I feel like we have a lot of big changes.
Yeah,
like I have a new mic.
You have a new mic, and I'm kind of off routine, so I forgot to say I'm Simone Canego, and then you say I'm Olivia Canego.
Yeah, you stole my bit and then still requested that I introduce myself, but it's fine.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
It's one of those days. I mean, my computer wasn't working. Okay, but yeah, new intro music. So that's exciting, right?
Yeah, it's like season 2.
Yeah, I feel like we're more official. We actually have
I like this mic a lot more. I'm going to keep it out on my desk. I'm not even going to put it in a drawer.
Oh, good. It's kind of nice, right? It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's the same mic I have, except for mine is upside down and yours is right side up.
I just don't have the space.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. So today, anyways, it's been a couple of weeks, so we're going to get on a better schedule. We got a lot of things going on. But today we are going to talk about. My
life has finally calmed down, actually.
Mine has not. Mine is like crazy as crazy could be. And with having a computer that sucks right now, it just stresses me out to no end. But with that, we're going to be talking about motivation today. And, because sometimes it's really hard to get motivated on certain things. And sometimes you have all the motivation in the world and you still don't accomplish those things. And so we're kind of going to dig into that a little bit and see our different perspectives on how that works. Because, I mean, you say things have calmed down, but tell me what that really means.
Oh, I'm spending, I'm actually sleeping in my bed. I think in the month of September, in the past 4 weeks, I've probably slept in my New York bed 10 times because I've just been traveling every single weekend. And when I say every single weekend, A, I mean every single weekend, but B, because of my class schedule, I've been leaving either Thursday night or Friday morning and then getting back Tuesday night. So it's been exhausting.
Yeah, I've been traveling a bit too. I mean, I've been gone. I mean, I met up with you, but this is the first weekend in 4 weeks that I will be at home, and I can't wait to. And I want to say do nothing, but I can't wait to do house things.
Yes, exactly that. My room is I need to vacuum, but I don't have time.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much I need to do in the house. Okay, so where do we get the motivation to do this? That's the thing. I feel like I have 30 things on my plate right now, which I really do. And then deciding, okay, what do I do first? How do I organize this? Because some days I just want to sit there and say, I'm not going to be able to accomplish any of this because it's just too overwhelming. But I can't do that, right? I have to continue moving forward. And so this is one of those times where I feel like, okay, I need to set a really specific schedule so that I can get these things done.
Yeah.
It's a lot though.
No, it is a lot. And honestly, making a schedule for me, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Today, I don't know why. I was planning on getting a lot more done today. But I think it ended up I didn't have as much schoolwork as I thought. But today I woke up, I had a mound of dishes because yesterday was Yom Kippur and I had a lot of friends over. So I just cooked. So I did that. But what motivated me to do that was I have no dishes. I have no silverware to eat my breakfast with. I need to wash a bowl and I need to wash a spoon and might as well just do all of them while I'm here.
I guess that's motivation, is that, if you have nothing to eat. I mean, some people would say, I'll use a paper plate and a plastic fork. I'm sure I can find, or the chopsticks that you've had probably sitting in the drawer for a long time. Some people would just say, you know what, I'm going to do that.
No, I like getting the dishes done. At home, I hate doing the dishes. I don't know why, but because it's easier to do them at home in Sarasota because the kitchen is bigger, the sink is bigger, there's a bigger place to dry. But doing it in New York, the space is so small that not doing it, it just is everything builds up so fast and the smell builds up really fast too.
Yeah, I get it. And it's funny, something about when everybody's home, they don't want to do it when they're home, and it drives me
Nope.
absolutely crazy. Like, okay, if you're doing your dishes and you're keeping your room clean where you live, where you're at school or where you live, why is it when you come home you can just, make everything into a shit show? I don't understand.
Literally about the space. For me, at least, it's the space. It's
Yeah,
like if my room is like slightly messy, it's a disaster because there's no walking space.
I
And
guess that
it's
makes
like, I don't
sense.
know.
Well, I'm going to do it, right?
Yeah, that as well. Like no one here is gonna do it. But that mean
Yeah.
I don't dust or anything, and I know no one's gonna do that. I kind of just live with a dusty room.
Yeah, I can't live with a dusty room. That drives me crazy.
It's actually gross, but whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, like right now, for me, what works, I have to have a schedule. If it is not in my calendar, it doesn't happen. And today was one of
Yeah.
those days where my computer was having issues. It's been having issues. It works so slow, it drives me crazy. Like I'll type the word the and it comes out THE. And I'm like, what the heck? And I've taken it
Yeah.
in multiple times to, the Genius bar. They
Uh-huh.
replaced the battery, still nothing. Now they're like, you need to erase the entire computer and factory reset it and start over. Well, okay, the problem is I'm so worried that I'm going to lose. I know a lot of my stuff is backed up to the cloud, but I have like this old side to my computer that it's because, again, I'm not young. So I
Yeah.
had Apple when Apple was just starting.
Hmm.
So a lot of the things don't like connect. So I have a second user account that doesn't connect to the cloud, right? So I can't put all my photos together. So I have photos back from 2007, 2008, maybe even earlier than that on this other side of my computer. And so today I was trying to back it up onto an external hard drive because I went into the Genius Bar and they helped me with stuff. They didn't help me.
Yeah.
And so I bought an external drive and now I'm trying to like save it all into the external drive and then bring it over to the other side. You know how much time this is wasted of my day and it's
Yeah, that
not
was
done?
like honestly, I just stopped paying attention
Right.
because
It's too much. I
well,
spent 4 hours and
like
it's
that's
not done.
ridiculous. Well, that's a not to shit on Apple or anything, but that's the thing with these new technologies is that they're like made to break kind of. And so today my friend went to get her computer fixed and because the screen wasn't turning on, she was like, okay, well, either I can pay like $20 less to have it fixed and then returned to me, but that'll take a week, or like every other human being that like needs their computer all the time, especially when you're in school, I can just buy a new one right now, eat the $20. Like
Well,
the cost of repair is like the same as the
oh,
cost of buying a new
okay.
one.
Well, that would make sense. But I have Apple Care on it. So like it
Oh,
makes
okay,
no
fancy.
sense for me. Well, it's $69 a year, right? It makes no sense for me to just like give up. But it's going to take a lot of time for me to save all this stuff and then
And time is
factory
money.
reset it. Yes, and time is money. And today it was a lot of money because I had. So here's actually what happened today. I was all
Please.
excited because um, I had jury duty this morning, right? And I
Oh,
literally
congratulations.
okay, but listen what happened. I get in the car, like I'm all motivated. I'm like, okay, I'm hoping it's just going to be a day because I have something big on Thursday and Friday that I really can't miss, but whatever. It's my civic duty, right? So I get in the car and I look at the card and it says, call the hotline the night before to confirm directions. I'm literally pulling out of the driveway. I call the hotline, and the hotline says, for all jurors who are supposed to report at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, September 26th, you've been excused. And I was like, oh my
I
gosh,
would
I
honestly
have a
be
whole day.
well, oh, I would be pissed off because I have to get up at 8 a.m.
Well, I'm up anyways, right? So
Okay, well, that's
I
fair.
I mean, I was just like, oh my gosh, I have a whole day. This day is a gift. And what kind of gift was it? It was not a gift because I spent the whole day trying to figure out the computer and really getting nowhere. So
Yeah, maybe you would rather be on jury duty. I don't know. I've
yeah,
never done it, so
the last time I showed up for jury duty, I didn't get chosen anyways, but it's fine. I mean, but anyway,
do they
so
pay you if you get chosen?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I think your
Like
work
for
is
loss
required
of
to keep
income? Oh,
your
oh,
work is
okay.
required to keep paying you even if you're not there. That's part of it.
That
And
makes sense.
maybe they feed you. I have no idea, but I've never been chosen. So I really was like, so I was motivated. I came home and came home. I drove back into the driveway and I said, okay,
That
I
was
have all
funny.
this time. What am I going to do? So I fixed light bulbs. I went to Lowe's and picked out some new tile for the floor. And then I was like, okay, I better deal with the computer thing. Like, this is the thing to do. And then it just went off the rails. And so it was hard to get back motivated to do
Yeah.
the things I really needed to do, like work on my book, work on my building my brand. There's all these things that I'm working on right now. And instead I spent time like trying to fix a computer and I have no idea what I'm doing. So it was just a waste of my time. So now I
Yeah.
feel like completely unmotivated. And, I
Me,
feel like it's a Friday night and I just want to watch a movie and drink a glass of wine or a
me
bottle,
too.
but it's Tuesday.
Well, yeah, I my motivation was okay today. Like I went to a workout class and I almost missed it, but I didn't because I looked at the wrong location, which was so dumb. I have two booked for this week and I looked at the one that's booked for Saturday, which is like a block away from my apartment, and the one today was like 10 blocks up, so I had to Uber, but the Uber costs the same amount as it would to cancel it. So I was like, might as well just get the
Oh, that's
workout
funny.
class in. Yeah.
Well, good for you. I mean, it's good. I think sometimes when you accomplish that, then you feel better about the next thing you have to
I
do.
think so as well. And also, it kind of helped with the perspective of, well, you know what? Like, if I get nothing else done today, at least I did one thing that was good for myself. Which I think with me and my motivation, I am a big like task starter, but not a finisher.
Mm.
Um, like even with my crochet projects right now, I have like 7 different ones going.
Okay,
Um,
girl, why? Why not just do one
I
at a
don't know.
time?
I don't know. I
Okay.
have no clue. That's just like how my brain works. Is like, oh well, like I'll start this one now and I'll start this one because like I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. So like I start a bunch of things, and then I just like get stuck, I guess.
I mean, I get it. I mean, but again, I think what works for me is if I put it in the calendar, it will get done. And and the problem is every day there's something new. Like last week, the dog was sick. Actually, she was sick again today. So then it's like it totally derails like the projects
Yeah.
that you have to do. But I still feel like if I have it, two things I love: my calendar and my lists. So my favorite thing in the world is I make a list of everything I have to do. Sometimes I lose the list, sometimes I find it. Actually, life hack, make your
Mm-hmm.
list on pink paper because then you won't lose it. Because I'm the only one that has a pink paper lying around the house. So when I'm looking through all the crap that's everywhere, not that our house is that messy, but when I'm trying to find the pink piece of paper, I can see it instantly and I know it's mine. That's my life hack about lists. But I love making a list and I love crossing things off the list. Sometimes I'll even add something to the list that I know I'm going to do in the next 5 minutes because it makes me feel good to cross it off the list. I know it's
Funny
weird.
for
What can I
that.
say? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the complete opposite. Because when I have a list, I get overwhelmed with trying to do everything on the list. Granted, my organization method is just like so completely unique to myself that no one could ever understand it because I don't even understand it. But I don't know.
Yeah. I think that
I'm all over the place.
it works. Everybody has a different way of
Yeah.
doing things, right? I mean, for me, the calendar and the lists work. And the hard part is like if it isn't on the calendar, I don't even know it exists. So there's been a couple of times where I don't put it on there and then I'm like, I get a call, "Do you know you were supposed to be here?" And I'm like, "Oh, are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
So
That honestly has
it's
happened to me before. Just if it's, I don't know, if I don't have it written down, I'm not going to remember it.
yeah, I really have to rely on that. And I don't know, the list thing, I think I got it from my mom. So obviously you're not getting it from me because you don't
No.
like it, but she was very much a list person, even like for her groceries. Now I'm not that way for groceries. I and I need to be better about this too. Like we were just visiting your brother. Well, both two of your older,
Yeah.
well, one younger, one older. And Jacob's girlfriend, she's great because she is so organized with everything. She has a meal plan for the entire week of what she's going to cook. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm making tomorrow. And it makes so much more sense because you don't have that food waste, right? If you
Yeah.
say like all these days and you don't like overextend yourself. You don't think like, okay, on a Tuesday night I'm going to be making chicken paprikash or something like really complicated. Not that it's that complicated, but you're not making something really complicated that takes multiple steps. You have like realistic goals in mind of what you're going to do. And so then you follow it and then you don't waste food. I mean, we waste so much stuff because I'm like, okay, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good. And then on Tuesday night, I'm like, well, let's order sushi. And so that all that stuff is just sitting there waiting. And then by the time I look at it again, I'm like, okay, well, that's rotten.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to avoid food waste a lot. But I don't know if I necessarily meal prep or meal plan. I don't know what I do. Recently, like just everything once again has been like I've been falling off track. Like I've just been off of everything recently. Any sort of like organization or even with school, it's like I'm getting the stuff done that I know has to be done. But besides that, I don't really know what's going on.
Do you feel when you get off track like that, do you feel bad or do you just like let it go?
No, I feel bad. And I work hard to like catch up.
Because I feel bad. Like I feel bad. Like right now I have this sense of like, I don't want to say gloom and doom, but I'm like, I feel like I have so much on my plate that I'm like, okay, where do I start? So what I decided is that really what I'm going to do is pick 2 things on my list every day, you know, whether it's just like accomplishing whatever it is, 2 things, and really trying to prioritize them. So I'll make my list in order of what's most important to get done. And then if I accomplish those, well, I will accomplish those 2 things. But if I accomplish more than that, it's like a bonus. Like it's a really feel good moment for me.
Yeah.
But I try not to overextend, right?
I think that's my thing. It's just like when I make a list, I have all of the things written down that I need to do. And then I'm like, I don't even know where to start. I'm so overwhelmed.
Well, what if you prioritize them and put them in order of like what's most important? And then just remind yourself you can't accomplish everything today. And, you know, it just, for me, it helps me so that I don't forget, right? Like there's certain things like today there was something that's been on my list for, like 3 months. And I was like, oh, okay, I have this bonus time. I'll call. And I made that call and I got it done, which again, if it wasn't on the list, I wouldn't even remember that it existed because it's not something that's that important, but it was just out there and just been sitting out there. So I really try to do that. Same thing, like I make a list of all the repairs in the house or like the plumber was coming. I was like, okay, what are all the things I need the plumber to do? And that way I don't forget. Cause that's the worst thing for me is that when someone comes and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about these 3 things that needed done. And now I'm going to have to wait another 2 months because everybody's so backed up.
Oh, I guess that's like not an issue for me. Right now, I'm trying to debate if I should ask my landlord to change my light bulbs or if I should do it myself. I don't know what's proper procedure here.
So you ask your landlord what's proper procedure and then you know.
Oh, he's scary. Oh my God. Speaking of this is a complete, and then we should probably do Freaky Florida. But speaking of this, walk into my apartment building, sign on the door. We have found asbestos in like 3 apartments. What?
Did they check your apartment?
No.
Well, they need to check your apartment.
Right?
That's dangerous.
I think someone asked about it. I don't remember who. And the landlord was like, no, it's fine. But I was like, the only reason they found the asbestos is because of the previous fire, because it was found in those apartments that like got damaged. And the only reason they found it is because they had to like repair stuff.
Okay, well, that's very suspicious to me. I mean, they definitely need to be testing the whole building.
Right.
That's kind of spooky. Okay, so moving on from our motivation, and we'll talk more motivation in a minute, but as usual in Florida, let's do Freaky Florida. In Florida, there has been there's always a lot of stuff going on, but this was one that I actually found was a little funny, a little scary, but a little funny because I think about kids and what they, when they get upset about something, what do? So 2 Northport, Florida kids are stopped in Alachua County operating a stolen vehicle. At around 3:50 a.m., deputies located a white sedan traveling on I-75, which is the main highway, in the city of Alachua. The vehicle was reported stolen out of Northport, causing deputies to conduct a high-risk traffic stop. Much to their surprise, deputies observed a 10-year-old male driver exit the vehicle,
oh God, that's
along with his 11-year-old sister. it was learned that the siblings had been reported as missing to the Northport Police Department and that the stolen vehicle belonged to their mother. Contact was made with the mother of the children, who declined to pursue charges and drove 3 hours north to Alachua County to take custody of both kids. Okay, so then people had a lot of questions about this, right? Because, like,
Yeah.
why is a 10-year-old driving a car, and how did they get the mother's car?
Also, how did they not get pulled over for 3 hours?
I mean, can you imagine being able to drive that well at 10 years old? I mean, that's a question right there.
3 hours? That's a lot.
To get on a highway. And okay, so it was learned that both children. What?
I applaud that kid. That's impressive.
Okay, right. It was learned that both children were upset with their mother because she took away their electronic devices.
Oh my God.
Which is believed to have been done because they were not using them appropriately. The children did speak with both deputies and detectives, and those conversations did not lead to any belief that the children were mistreated by their parent or any other person within the home. And obviously, the mom didn't press charges of them taking the car. This crime is a criminal traffic violation, and a juvenile will not be accepted into the Department of Juvenile Justice for misdemeanor criminal traffic. Our detectives did speak with their mother at length, who was clearly doing her best to raise two young children, and she was very receptive to the recommendations they provided in helping her get assistance. So, and of course, then the police officer said, we appreciate our community and respect your voice, so we wanted to provide you with as much additional data as possible. So, okay, right, like let's break this down for a second. So, have you ever felt like so angry? I mean, there's times where you were like, I'm running away, but
I've never gotten into a car. I'm not crazy.
And drove off with your sister, 10 and 11 years old, on a highway, I-75, which is like, it's the highway that,
where were they going? What was the plan here? Just a 10-year-old was like, you know what? Mom took away our electronics.
We'll show mom. Let's see how far we can get before we run out of gas.
Oh my God. They're probably grounded for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be getting those electronics back.
No, I feel like they just really prevented from getting it back ever.
Yeah, I mean, but I thought that was a crazy story. And I don't want to say only in Florida, because I know stuff like this happens everywhere, but I just found it comical. But
I think the funny part was the fact that they drove on the highway for 3 hours without anyone being like, hey, like someone's doing like really reckless driving.
Or like, you know, you look, I mean, again, they got pulled over at 3:50 in the morning. So obviously there's not that many people out at that time. You know, but I think, so I think that they just weren't, nobody saw them, because obviously if I'm driving on the highway and I look over and there's like a little kid driving, I'd be like, hello, 911. And you know, I think that would be a bit, I don't know. I definitely would call, right, if you saw something happen like that. But again, at 1, 2, 3 in the morning, there's not that many people on the highway, so that's probably what kept them safe.
Yeah,
there wasn't like craziness happening. Anyway,
wow.
So that was most of the other stories I looked at were all about alligators. And I was like, okay, maybe next week we'll talk about alligators again. But there were so many Florida stories about alligators.
Already? I guess, yeah.
Oh, a huge alligator.
So.
Someone saw a woman's torso in an alligator. Obviously, alligator cater. Yeah, so maybe that's for next week.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to motivation, because, you know, I think that we all struggle getting motivated to do things, especially when we feel anxious about something. I know, like, for me, we do try to procrastinate on things, and I feel like no matter what, I should kind of hit it head on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always easy. If there's something that you're stressing about and saying, okay, I have this happening, and how do I get through it?
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things where you have to realize that everybody has these feelings of anxiety and stress. I mean, maybe not to the same amount as other people, but really, if you just put something to the side, it doesn't go away, right? And I actually think it weighs heavier on your mind when you're trying to not do it versus just trying to accomplish it in small segments. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the accomplishing in the small segments does help a lot. Like right now, I'm really thinking about, oh my gosh, I need to dust my room.
You have a Swiffer.
I don't have a duster though.
I thought I got you a Swiffer duster.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I should send one to you.
Well, it's okay. I'm only here for 8 more months. That's my rationale behind everything
Oh
right now.
my gosh,
I'm only
eight
here for
more
8 more months.
months. In eight
Really
months,
bad.
like people make a child in 8 months. You can definitely dust your room. I mean, I know it's 9 months, but I'm just,
Yeah,
giving that as an example.
you're right. Okay.
Yeah,
But
girl,
I
come
think
on.
for me, always like splitting into smaller segments helps. Oh, so for like particularly for writing essays for me, that's always been um a challenging thing because I have ADHD. Even with my meds, I find it really hard to put my attention onto something for longer than 2 or 3 hours at a time. I struggle movie watching. I struggle doing like a lot of things. Um, and for essays, like the way I do it is I will set a word limit for the day that I want to get done. And sometimes I go above it. Actually, I would say typically I do go above it. And in that way I can get my essay done and it's like reasonable rather than I wait till the last minute and I have no motivation to actually do it because I can't even pay attention.
I think that's great. I mean, because I feel like that's what I'm doing with what I'm doing right now. And I'm saying to myself, don't put so much pressure on yourself. It's gonna get done. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be done tomorrow. So by setting like a timeline and saying, okay, this is again, that's where my calendar comes in, but this has to be done by next Friday. And
Mhm.
I'm not going to wait until Thursday to do it because that's going to stress me out to the nth degree. Like I
Yeah.
definitely don't like to leave things to the last minute. That's my personality. I know some people thrive on it, like your dad, but
Yeah.
I don't like that. I really like doing chunks and then saying, "Oh my gosh, look what I accomplished today."
Yeah. I'm definitely like that. I don't know. Like my problem is that I will wait till the last minute even though I'm not productive. I've gotten so much better at it though, like because I just know it won't be productive.
Well, doesn't it just stress you out to the nth degree? I
Yeah, and
mean,
then I can't get it done because I at the
right.
last minute I am so stressed out that I
Yeah.
literally cannot function.
Yeah. So I think that's why it's so important. And everybody does things differently. I get it. I know I already said that, but really waiting at all on something to me, it's like if something's assigned, I start working on it. Now, I don't obviously, if I have all these things on my plate, it's not like I'm getting it all done in a day, but I feel like at least if I make some progress on it, even if it's like 3 sentences in my book, like,
Hmm.
and they're 3 powerful sentences, I feel like, okay, I got that out. I wrote it down.
So how do you get remotivated though? So like you I don't know, like I saw a TikTok of some girl being like, okay, I'm not drinking sodas for a month. Everyone hold me to this. And then the next TikTok was like, I'm giving up. I already had to.
Yeah, again, is it realistic timeline, realistic expectations, right? Like, why are you doing the things you're doing, right? If I say
Yeah.
I'm not going to drink wine for 6 months, and we know me, I like to drink wine. Yeah, so right, it's unrealistic. So, am I setting myself up to fail, right? And I think that we do that a lot of times because we just get this idea like, okay, we this is what we're going to do, and that's it.
Yeah.
And give me the rationale behind it. Like, why are you going to do this? Like, I'm going to go from not working out at all to working out
And
7 days a week, 2 hours a day. Well, that's not
it's,
realistic. It's hard to
yeah.
maintain.
I think it comes from like the idea of always set your goals and dreams high, but then people set them to an unachievable point. And like, yes, as long term goals, that's great to have that mindset of like, oh, yeah, one day I'm going to be a billionaire. But you don't become a billionaire overnight. You don't become a weightlifter overnight. And if your goal is become a weightlifter, you're just going to, or maybe you won't, but some people will probably just end up giving up because you're not seeing those immediate results. So I always have this thing where like I don't set my expectations low, but like I ground myself more. Like I'm
Mhm.
getting my LSAT scores back tomorrow. Um and I've even in that, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like I'm realistic, but maybe to a negative aspect. But it also makes sure that I can like continue doing something because I like to achieve my goals, I guess. So like setting my score goal as like a 155, I know I'm getting above that. Like I've done above that in all of my practice tests, but then I'm achieving my goal.
Right. And I don't think you should set things to be too low. I think it's like
Yeah.
a realistic thing. And I think that oftentimes we do things like we have these expectations that we're going to reach this right away. And we
Yeah.
start looking at what everybody else is doing and we start worrying about, well, okay, how come they can do this and I can't, and I'm not there yet? And so then we quit. But the problem is we have no idea how much time or work that person has put in, how
Hmm.
many years they put into what they've been doing. And it's hard to make those comparisons. We shouldn't compare. We should just look at what we're doing and just say
Yeah.
a little bit at a time. Like, don't give up. If this is something that you really want, don't give up. Keep doing it. And don't be so hard on yourself that it's not done tomorrow, because Rome wasn't built in a day. I mean, all those kind of sayings. I mean, they're sayings for a reason, because it takes that dedication, it takes that hard work, and it takes not giving up. But the
Hmm.
first question you have to ask yourself is, what do you want? Is this
Yeah.
what you want to be doing? Now, obviously, when it comes to school, it's part of what you have to do, right? I mean, you take
Yeah.
these classes, you have to turn in the assignments unless you want a crappy grade. But ask yourself what you want about your room. Do you want your room to be dusty for the next 8 months, or do you want it not to be dusty?
No, I'm definitely
Want
going
it,
to dust after this.
yeah, there we go. If you want it not to be dusty, then you have to actually dust it. And
Mhm.
you don't have to take everything off the walls and do it tomorrow, but clean the dust that you see. And then the
Yeah.
next day do something more.
Yeah. I guess it's just in that aspect, it gets overwhelming because the dust keeps coming back.
Well, so does everything. I mean, so does
I
laundry.
know.
I mean, so does having to like make food,
That's
drink
exhausting.
water,
I like
all of
drinking
that.
water though.
Yeah.
So,
Well, but it's just reminding yourself that everything. So think about it like that. It's like drinking water. You have to keep doing these things to keep yourself healthy, to keep your brain going. You have to, like, it's all part of it.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
I think
I guess
sometimes it
motivation
doesn't
is
make
just hard.
Hmm. Motivation is hard sometimes. It really is hard to say, okay, I'm going to get all these things done and not feel bad about myself at the same time, right?
Yeah. And I think I struggle with that a lot. Um, my biggest struggle, I will say, is getting out of bed when I have no time commitments. So, like, yeah, I need to dust my room, but I'm not going to get out of bed for that. That doesn't have like a time limit on it. So there are like, I don't know, some days where I just am completely unstructured. I stay in bed way too long, or I mess around on my phone too long. I'm not going to say I crochet for too long because I'm seeing that as a positive and not a negative in my life.
No, I think that's a good thing. I think being on your phone for too long is a negative. I'm going to call you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and say, you need to get up and dust.
I have I have an 8:30 class, so I'll be up at 7:45.
Okay, there you go. You can dust for
But
5 minutes before you leave.
like today, I was really, really dreading I had therapy and I was really dreading it. I don't know why. I like going to therapy. It's just like having a conversation and I like to talk. Um,
Yes, you do.
yeah. And I was dreading going to yoga, not because I had to go work out, but because I had to leave the house. And it was extra bad because of the rain. But what motivated me to go was the fee I'd have to pay if I canceled
Right.
the class. And
Yeah.
afterwards, I felt great. Like I truly did. But like I really appreciate ClassPass in that way because I sign up for classes when I'm in a good mood. And every time I end up going, I'm not necessarily in the mood to go, but I have to go.
It's that it's almost like having a workout partner, right? Where
Yeah,
you commit to something, and if you don't show, then like it's not good for them either. So
exactly.
you have to commit to it,
It's
and it is
something that's holding me
motivation, right?
accountable. And I
The
think, yeah,
financial
things
part
that
is
for
motivation, right?
sure, things that hold you accountable, whether that be financial or another person, that's like a huge part of motivation. Like, I mean, even with cooking dinner, like if you didn't have to feed anybody else, what would you eat for dinner?
I'd have a glass of wine and maybe some beef jerky tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. But you have people to feed, so therefore you're going to cook yourself a healthy meal because beef jerky and wine that doesn't
Yeah.
fulfill all of the food pyramid requirements.
No, it does not. But sounds good right now. But no, I'm actually, as soon as we get done here, I'm gonna I already told everybody what I was cooking, so that like I make sure to actually do it. So
I'm having leftovers. We have tons of Indo-Chinese food.
I
So
wish I could come over for that. I'm making chicken schnitzel and green beans and rice. So
aw,
yeah, that's what I'm
green
making
beans
tonight.
yesterday, and I
Oh,
cooked them like you cooked them.
oh, were they good?
Yeah,
Oh,
I never
good.
eat a lot of green beans. I always eat a lot when I'm home. When I'm here, I like green beans. I don't know
We
why.
need to have a podcast just about cooking. We'll do that another day.
Oh yeah, because I cooked way too much yesterday, but I'm gonna go into keeping up with the country.
I was gonna say, what's going on in
Yeah.
our world, girl?
So, no one told me this. Found out today through a TikTok that the government could potentially be shutting down. No, it's not going in the direction you think. Okay, so I learned essentially just quick synopsis. Congress didn't do their one job of figuring out where funding is coming from. So, essentially, if they don't figure that out by October 1st, they can keep going to work and getting paid. But no other government employee, unless they're essential, will be going to work. And even if they are essential, they won't be getting paid and they'll get back pay, whatever. But this is coming at a very bad time in our country's history because the National Zoo in Washington, D.C., funded by the government, as it is a Smithsonian institution, is holding a panda goodbye celebration. So we have 3 elderly pandas or 2 elderly pandas and their 3-year-old son that have been on loan from China, and they're headed back. They have to be back by December 7th. So this week from September 23rd to October 1st, the pandas have been having a celebration. I think they're calling it Panda Palooza. Yeah. But the problem is the government funding will expire on October 1st. So if you don't get in to see the pandas, this will be your last and only chance to see those pandas. And it's coupled with very bad weather in the Northeast right now. People are still showing up, but I don't know. And furthermore, this is the first time in 50 years that the zoo has not had giant pandas after this.
Wow.
So yeah,
that's a
even
big deal.
Government shutdown is probably going to affect a lot, but it is affecting the pandas as well.
Poor pandas.
I know. I mean, they're probably so celebrated though.
Definitely true, but yeah, it is. You see the rippling effect of when one thing doesn't happen, and I mean that's a whole political conversation, but how one thing can affect everything, even
but it can
animals.
Be tied back to motivation though. Like,
yeah,
you not getting this one part done can affect so many other things, and it puts you behind, and that can affect the others around you.
Yeah, I try to think about that too when I'm, when someone is relying on me to get something done. I really
very conscious.
Yeah, I'm very conscious because I don't want to waste people's time.
Yeah,
like it's so important to me that people understand that if I'm delayed on something, it's not intentional. It's okay. Here's what just happened. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's just so important for me that people understand that I'm not there to waste their time, that I'm going to always do my best to be on time, be on schedule, because I know, and I know that other people's time is valuable, and I really do take that into account. And that is motivational for me to make sure that I'm not wasting anybody else's time.
Yeah, that helps me a lot too, honestly, when other people are involved.
Yeah, and not there. I mean, there's always expectations, right? Like, I mean, so we were on a flight home on Sunday, and when we talk about wasting people's time, we're literally 15 minutes from the airport. We had driven from Greensboro to Raleigh-Durham, and there was horrible traffic. It took us almost 2 hours. And so we were going to get there just in time, literally to get through security, drop off the car, get through security, get on the plane. And we're like 10, 15 minutes from the airport, and we get a notification, your flight has been delayed 5 hours.
5 hours? Lose my mind.
We're supposed to leave in 45 minutes, and our flight is now delayed 5 hours. Like, how did they just realize that? And it's not because of weather. It was a mechanical issue on the plane that was coming to us. So they knew it for a long time, obviously, because, and then we got to the airport, and as soon as we got to because I'm like, let's just get there. Let's figure out when we get there. As soon as we get there, and it says, oh, your flight has been delayed until 10:30. And it first said 10:15 or something. And I'm like, wait. And Rob's like, oh, it's only 15 more minutes. I said, no, 10:30 a.m.
Oh my God.
Tomorrow morning.
Oh my God.
And your dad's supposed to be on call starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. And so they're like, oh, you can have a hotel, and here, we'll give you $15 of food. And we're like, oh. So I found another airline, bought another ticket. We made it home. But that kind of thing where it just like sets everything off, right? And you're like, how do I how do I get everything else done? And how do I explain to people, okay, I'm not going to be here because of this. So we got home at like 1 o'clock in the morning and my day started at 6:30 again. Didn't matter. I think your dad was up way earlier than that. But, you just had to keep going because other people are relying on you.
And and that's like a huge part of motivation. It's just like, but also then that one little thing can ruin your day and set you off to get, or it wasn't one little thing, but even like a little thing can set your day off and have you like get off track and you won't be motivated. I had another point in my head. But so then in like situations like that, and I've been realizing this recently, is that I hold others to a different standard than I hold myself.
Interesting.
So I treat others the way I would want to be treated to like a fault, I guess, because I expect like lenient, or I give people leniency, but I don't necessarily always receive it. And there's just like more situations than that, but like thinking that a lot of people do have the same mindset and they are forgiving because stuff happens. And just like you can't be expected to be perfect, I guess.
No, there's no such thing as perfection. 100%. End of discussion. No such thing as perfection. You can say that you want to strive for perfection because I guess that makes you feel like you're working harder. But I just don't even like the word perfection or perfect because I just think it's an unattainable goal. And again, if we're talking about motivation, why set yourself up for failure? Saying, "Oh, I'm going to do perfect on this," right? And then when you don't, then you're instantly a failure, right? If you think like, okay, I'm going to be the number 1 football player in Sarasota County, right? And then you're number 2. Have you completely failed? No, but unfortunately, when you stick it in your head like that, or someone else does, that it feels like a failure. So that's why it's kind of like thinking about what motivates you and thinking about what realistic goals are.
Yeah.
Discussion. What's your calendar for today?
Such a good one. At some point, it will come down to your willingness to release the past. So getting back on the wagon, you just have to ignore what happened and keep going forward.
Yeah. I
learned today, getting back on the wagon is exclusive for like addiction. You can't really say that about like other things in life, apparently. Or maybe that's just the connotation. I don't know.
It's what people, associate it with. But I think you can, if you explain it, I guess you can use it for other things. But I agree. I always say like it's done. It's in the past. Like all you can do from that is learn from it. But you can't if you like totally
can't go
focus on it and you can't fix it. So for the future moving forward what you can do differently instead of saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I did that. It's more like, okay, here's what I can do next time to make it better.
I completely agree.
And I remind myself of that every day. It's not easy.
It's not at all easy.
I'm not saying that, I don't ever worry about it. You do, but you have to put those things aside and say, this is how we move forward.
For sure.
Yeah, that was a good one for today.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Great seeing you.
Yeah, it was good to see you too.
Thanks for joining us so much on the Daughter Dearest podcast. We will see you next time. If you enjoy what we're doing, please like us. Please leave a review. Please share us with your friends. And hopefully we'll see you in a week.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Daughter Dearest podcast with Simone and Olivia Canego. We hope this episode has made your day just a little bit brighter and given you the inspiration you need to confidently go about your week. Always remember to be authentically you. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And feel free to connect with them on Instagram at Daughter Dearest Podcast, at Simone Canego, and at Olivia Canego. Till next time.